So today I'm sitting here with the Zafra LLC CEO, Ryan Breinza. We're in the middle of Illinois right now, in a rural part. Ryan, tell me a little bit about your experience getting into the entrepreneurial business. What started, where did you start in your life that said, I want to start my own business?
I think it was from when I was born. I mean, I got into starting my own businesses all the way back to, I think the first thing I actually did, like business-wise, was the Beer Buddy, which was a dog collar with a retractable beer opener, and I made that, I think in the 8th grade. I was like 12 or 13 when I did that, and then since then, started developing some apps when I was in high school, which I forget about these days, but I had a couple apps going to the top charts. And then once kind of Bitcoin came around, I was working on this other side project and didn't really see myself, didn't get accepted at the colleges I want to go to, and decided to go down this route of Bitcoin because where we grew up, or where I grew up, turned out to be one of the best places in the world to mine. And we used a lot of power, which my family business, being in the industrial electrical contracting business, really helped. So I decided to go dive right in.
And growing up in Plattsburgh, you were always someone who did something a little differently than everybody else. You didn't go to college, and you decided to go right from high school and start your own business. What drove you to that? You said you want to be your own boss, right? And what drove you to that inspiration, that drive?
I think I guess my big goal is I want to be successful, make a large amount of money, be at the top, and always, I don't really, I think, conform well to rules or laws or having people tell me what to do. So being my own boss is the best thing to do.
Right, and so you did a bunch of different ventures and different businesses. Why don't you explain a little bit about your introduction to cryptocurrency and how you came to learn and maneuver around the world of crypto?
Yeah, so I first saw crypto back in 2013 when I was online on my computer and I was looking into mining it. I never actually figured out how to mine it then. I know I tried, and actually the other day I found some old wallets I made back in 2016, but nothing in them. Luckily I did remember the password. And I didn't forget it.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah. So once mining came up, or we saw the first operator come to town, or my parents were doing the electrical work for them, and I saw it back in the end of 2016 or September of 2016, and I got really interested. The biggest thing when I first saw it is I didn't know anything about the technology. I was only 17 at the time, but what they theoretically were doing is just printing money and running a money printing operation. And I was like, wow, you can buy these things and literally print money? Like, yeah, that seems like the business to be in. So once I did some more research and delved into it, and the senior year of high school is usually busy, you're getting out of school, moving on in the world. So I was looking at that, and I saw it at first, tried to convince my parents, hey, let's get into this or something. And they're like, no, it's too risky. Come around May, April, Bitcoin, Ethereum started really going up. Bitcoin broke 1,000 for the first time. Ethereum was like a couple $100. And we decided to get into Ethereum mining and build some GPU rigs, because that was something I knew how to build computers, and it was something I could figure out how to do, and it was what I was most interested in. And I really started to look into what the technology actually was. Come time to accept for college, didn't really want to choose some of the local ones, like Clarkson was the one I was more leaning to, but instead I deferred and decided that I'm just going to take a year off and work on another project that really has gone nowhere, and then also do some crypto. And crypto kind of progressed into being what I'm fully into now.
And you mentioned earlier that you were lucky to be in a position or a location like Plattsburgh, New York, upstate, away from the city. What is the purpose of Plattsburgh, New York? What kind of purpose does it have for the business of cryptocurrency?
Well, the biggest thing Plattsburgh has is some of the lowest cost power in the country and in the world. There's cheaper places in the world, but Plattsburgh is definitely one of the top 10 cheapest places in the country to mine, if not the cheapest. So that is your number one power cost in this business is your number one cost in the business, and our operating cost is power. So the cheaper you can get power, the more profitable you can be, the better you can weather bear cycles when the market dips on the mining side and your cost of production is lower. Because also Plattsburgh has a favorable climate. Being cool up there, you don't have to spend as much in cooling costs. Mines run better when it's cold. So there's only the summer, which doesn't get too hot, I mean, we see 80, 90 degrees a couple times in the summer, but most of the year it's relatively cool, which is perfect for mining, and it's better for the servers overall.
And I see on your shirt today you have Zafra LLC. Why don't you give us a little insight on what Zafra is and what it means to you?
Yeah, so I originally started Zafra in 2015, and it was supposed to be a mobile app with one of my best friend's dads. And we started the app, we developed the whole thing, but we didn't really put anything into marketing. My past apps, the marketing went a little easier because there were more niche apps. This one wasn't, and it flopped, but we had the Zafra LLC was formed. Come 2017, when we were getting into the hosting business, do I want to start a new company or do I want to use Zafra? So I just pulled it off the shelf. It was sitting on the shelf and started using it for this. And I'm glad I used it because actually the meaning of Zafra is a harvest in the Caribbean every year. So I kind of use it as the harvest of crypto, what we're doing at our facilities.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so it actually worked out coincidentally.
Yeah.
I mean, for it to work like that. But I also like Zafra as it stands out more than a lot of people in the business are bit this, bit that, or crypto or coin, block. Zafra stands out and it's not directly involved, or it's more of a brand than just like I see a bunch of these companies and they all look the same.
Right, right. And you started Zafra in Plattsburgh, New York, but today we sit in a warehouse in the middle of rural Illinois. How did we get here?
Well, Plattsburgh banned us and they kicked me out. Back when we first got going, a couple months in, they put in a moratorium, which was one of the first in the country, and it prohibited anybody from expanding in Plattsburgh. So we sold out of our first space we built. We had the ability back then to host a couple hundred servers on the old power usages. Now everything uses a little more. Well, we sold out in a month and we were already looking to expand. It was kind of a gold rush was coming to Plattsburgh, like back in the day when everybody went out to California. All these prospectors were coming to the area trying to mine Bitcoin, and then Plattsburgh put it to a grinding halt. So we didn't have any ability to get any more power there, which made it a lot hard. It made it harder for us to do business, or if we wanted to grow and scale like we have been. And then I got connected. A lot of press came to the area, and specifically one Vice interview. When Vice Motherboard did an interview on me, my associate Sangha out here saw that interview, and one of their guys called me and told me they had these sites, and since about June or July of 2018, I came out here, I saw it, and I was always working on bringing people here, and I ended up being the first one that actually came here and turned on. And I wasn't planning on being the first, but this site has a lot of growth potential as we have 82 megawatts on a private substation that can expand. The city of Plattsburgh has a whole allotment for the whole city of 104. This site almost has as much power specifically to whatever you want to do as a whole city does that needs to also use the power for all the residents, businesses, and everything else going on there.
So right now, Bitcoin is reaching its all-time highs as well as many other cryptocurrencies. So what direction do you think the whole cryptocurrency industry is going to take with the amount of money that's getting pumped into it?
I think it's going to keep going up from here. I mean, kind of what we're looking at now is that 3 years ago when I first got in, or actually 4 years ago, people were calling it a scam. All the banks were calling it a scam. And now they're all accepting it and telling their clients they should buy it. The whole thing's changed, and I think part of that has to do with COVID too, and the new monetary policy of them just printing endless amounts of trillions of dollars, dumping it into the economy, is people are looking for a hedge, and we also like that it's decentralized, that there's not one entity that can control exactly what happens, is that all the people that make up the community, or the network, control what happens.
Do you think the cryptocurrency industry is going to override the US dollar and other currencies around the world and the hard currencies?
Maybe in the future. I don't think so anytime soon. I mean, the governments don't want that. So I think they'll coexist. I don't think they'll fully overtake, but I think there'll be some sort of form of central bank digital currency or using blockchain technology or something where the government has control on it, and Bitcoin being more of a speculative store of value or a digital gold, which I do think we don't have any digitally backed assets right now, and these are the first, which how digitally inclined or interconnected we are these days is that everything's digital. Also power, which powers the digital world. Having an asset that ties both in and being decentralized, I think, is definitely needed, or a new asset class that is needed today. It makes sense to have.
So obviously Bitcoin's the biggest one. right now it just hit $60,000 US $1,000 once again. It did it before, like about a month ago. Now it's back up. We're in April. Where do you think the market's going to be come December?
Conservatively speaking, what I was saying at the beginning of last year was I thought Bitcoin was going to hit 20,000 by the end of 2020, 100,000 by the end of 2021. I'm betting it's going to hit at least 100. I personally think it can go higher than that. Then it's probably going to dip down a bit, but with the amount of money and people that are in now, I don't know how big of a drop it will be. I don't think we'll see a drop like 2017. It'll be maybe, I think the upswings and the downswings are going to stabilize more as there's bigger money and these big banks and institutions that are getting behind it now. Publicly traded firms, Tesla, Elon Musk, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they're all getting behind it. So I don't think that we'll see those big wild swings like we used to. It'll stabilize more, but I think overall it's going to keep going up, especially as they keep printing money, it's going to keep going up.
And your company, Zafra, is in the market of hosting these crypto miners, these machines that are able to uncode the algorithm. And you're stepping into the marketing industry, and you're taking on a lot of more clients than in years past. What direction do you think Zafra will take in the future?
Our goal right now is to be more of an infrastructure service provider, or own the infrastructure, which Zafra does right now. Is we build the data centers or the crypto mines that these are going to run in, or the servers run in, and then have our clients. And our clients are the ones that actually own most of the infrastructure, or the actual miner that does the blockchain verification, the mining, transaction processing for the networks. So our goal is to keep expanding upon that infrastructure. Also get into more of some enterprise data center cases for more of like edge, AI, cloud computing, or HPC or high-powered computing uses is what we're mainly focused on in the future. Getting more of our own hardware and being more do some self-mining and maybe get into some of the software sides of the blockchain industry as well. But right now we're trying to stay more focused just to what we're good at, which is the infrastructure piece.
And ethically speaking, you didn't attend college. You're a young 21-year-old about to turn 22. How do you build the trust and rapport needed in order for the clients to trust you with thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment?
I think that they just see that we know what we're doing. We've gotten a lot of press in the back, or in previous, so we're more of a legitimate player. I think we've gotten the most press coverage nationally than many other companies. I mean, more companies have gotten more of the niche, like Cointelegraph, etc., like crypto-centric news things, but we got Forbes, PBS NewsHour, NBC, CNN, New York Times doing coverage. I think that adds a factor that people can look us up and they can see, like, people have come to our sites, they've talked to us, and our stories stayed the same the whole time. We don't really change it up. And I think also knowing we have a very good knowledge base. I mean, mainly it's me doing a lot of the work. People can see if they want to come out and meet us, that once they talk to me on the phone, they see exactly that we know what we're doing. Yeah, we have our hiccups here and there. There's things that mess up on our fault, or factors that we can't control, but that's any startup. And then see what our service is. So.
And how do you, as Zafra, put yourselves above and beyond the other competitors in the industry?
Right now it's a little more difficult because we don't have a huge staff. A lot of it's done by myself, and some more people that we are bringing on for staff. And a lot of it's just been done for a few larger clients, and we're getting more into some retail or smaller clients and bringing in that growth. So that's been more of a challenging process, and learning and kind of changing the way we've been doing things and doing it on a different, a higher standard than what used to be. And also that's where the business needs to go too, is that Bitcoin, it's been the Wild West, it still is the Wild West, this whole business, but it's getting more standardized and more legitimate every day.
And for a final question, say someone at home is watching and they said, well, I want to start my own business. It doesn't have to be cryptocurrency, but they say, I want to start my own business. And they're in a similar position that you were in 3 or 4 years ago. What would you tell them to encourage them to go on and start their business and not give up?
I'd probably say, some people have asked me this, or a lot of people ask me this. I'd say the biggest thing is you gotta just you got to get into it and don't expect results for a while and just keep going at it. I mean, it took me years to get to here, and just going every day nonstop. And eventually, if you put in the time, the rewards will come. You just can't stop or give up.
And time is of an essence in all of our lives, especially in days like today where the coronavirus has hit. And what kind of impact did that have on your business and cryptocurrency as a whole?
At first, the market took a huge dip, but it's slowly recovered, and it's actually been the best performing asset in the last year, or one of the best performing assets. So I think in some ways it's actually benefited the industry, as Bitcoin is built on the last financial crisis in 2008. This was the next financial crisis that we kind of ran into, but it was a global crisis. Well, the last one was a global crisis, but monetary policy in this, the endless amounts of printing that they've been doing, it kind of it showed where Bitcoin's use case is. And it showed that Bitcoin, this is what Bitcoin is built for. And it kind of, I think, opened it up even more mainstream as people are looking. You get negative interest rates, where are you going to invest your money? Well, there's this asset, it's not correlated to any of that. Let's start putting our money there.